Have you ever wondered what is happening to the great wilderness of Africa? We often see sweeping images of its vast savannas, teeming with life. We imagine lions basking in the sun and elephants marching majestically across the plains. For generations, this land has been a symbol of nature's power. But this vibrant world, this precious jewel, is now facing threats at the edge of collapse. These dangers aren't always visible like a poacher's snare, yet they work silently to unravel life. Poaching and the illegal wildlife trade remain devastating, but that's only one chapter in a much larger story. The true threats are pervasive, embedded in how our modern world operates. Imagine a river that no longer flows with clean water. Imagine a forest that simply vanishes, replaced by barren land. These hidden dangers are numerous and interconnected. Plastic bags choking marine life off the Kenyan coast. Chemical runoff from farms poisoning rivers where hippos once thrived. Chainsaws felling ancient trees in the Congo basin to make way for crops and cattle. Mines digging deep, scarring the land and polluting soil and water. Each of these actions, driven by human needs and global demands, puts another nail in the coffin of Africa's wilderness. The silent destruction of this continent's natural world reflects the pressures on our entire planet. One of the most insidious threats to Africa's ecosystems is pollution, a quiet killer that leaves indelible scars on the land and water. In places like Ghana, the problem of electronic waste has reached a crisis point. Old computers, televisions, mobile phones are sent here, creating vast digital dump sites. When these items are burned to extract precious metals, they release toxic fumes and heavy metals like lead and mercury into the air and soil. These poisons seep into the ground, contaminating the water that local communities and wildlife depend on, causing sickness and rendering entire areas uninhabitable for both humans and animals. Similarly, our modern reliance on plastic has created a tidal wave of pollution that is choking Africa's waterways and oceans. Along the coastlines of countries from Senegal to South Africa, plastic waste is a common sight. It washes up on beaches, entangling turtles and seabirds, and breaks down into tiny microplastics that are ingested by fish and other marine creatures. This plastic enters the food chain, working its way up until it affects top predators and even us. The Nile, one of Africa's great lifeblood rivers, now carries an enormous burden of plastic pollution, threatening the delicate ecosystems of its delta and the Mediterranean Sea beyond. Then there is the immense pressure of deforestation, which is tearing the heart out of Africa's great forests. These substances poison entire river systems for hundreds of miles, killing fish and any other life they touch. The scarred, barren land left behind is a testament to a hunger for resources that ignores the profound and lasting damage inflicted upon the natural world. Perhaps the most overarching and formidable threat of all is our changing climate. Africa, a continent that has contributed the least to global greenhouse gas emissions, is tragically positioned to suffer some of its most severe consequences. Rising global temperatures are causing dramatic shifts in weather patterns across the continent. We are seeing longer and more intense droughts in the Sahel region, turning once fertile grazing lands into dust. Pastoralist communities, wild herbivores, gazelles, wildebeest to compete for dwindling resources of water and vegetation, leading to conflict and starvation on a massive scale. In other parts of the continent, the opposite is true. Climate change is bringing more extreme and unpredictable rainfall, causing devastating floods. Mozambique, Malawi, entire landscapes have been submerged, washing away topsoil, destroying habitats, displacing millions of people and animals. The majestic Victoria Falls has at times been reduced to a mere trickle due to record droughts, a stark visual reminder of how profoundly climate change is altering Africa's most iconic landscapes. The warming of our planet is also having a direct and devastating impact on Africa's unique biodiversity. The Fynbos of South Africa, one of the most diverse floral kingdoms on Earth, is incredibly sensitive to changes in temperature and rainfall. On the continent's highest peaks like Mount Kilimanjaro, the ancient glaciers are melting away at an astonishing pace. The beautiful coral reefs that fringe the coastlines of Egypt and Tanzania are bleaching and dying as ocean temperatures rise, destroying the nurseries for countless fish species. Climate change is not a distant future threat. For Africa's wildlife and wild places, it is a clear and present danger, happening right now, before our very eyes. Beyond the visible destruction, another quiet war is being waged against Africa's native ecosystems by invasive species. These are plants and animals that have been introduced, either accidentally or intentionally, into environments where they do not naturally belong. One of the most notorious invaders is the water hyacinth, a beautiful floating plant with a sinister side. Originally from South America, it has clogged many of Africa's freshwater bodies, including Lake Victoria. Dense, impenetrable mats form on the water's surface, blocking sunlight to submerged plants, depleting oxygen, creating dead zones where fish cannot survive. It also obstructs transport routes for fishing communities, devastating livelihoods. The struggle to control water hyacinth is constant and costly. Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. On land, invasive plants are equally destructive. In South Africa's Cape Floral Kingdom, invasive trees like the Australian acacia and pine are consuming vast quantities of water, far more than native fynbos. They create dense shady canopies that prevent native species from growing and increase wildfire intensity, further transforming the landscape. Invasive animals also pose a major threat. The Argentine ant has spread widely, including into South Africa. These tiny invaders form massive supercolonies that wipe out native ants. That creates a cascade. Many fynbos plants rely on specific ants to disperse seeds. Without native ant partners, those plants can't reproduce effectively, threatening long-term survival. Even a tiny creature can disrupt ecological relationships built over millions of years, leading to a silent, creeping extinction crisis. The picture of Africa's environmental struggles can seem overwhelming. A cascade of interconnected problems that threaten to erase one of our planet's greatest natural treasures. From the poisoned soils of mining sites, to the plastic-filled oceans, the shrinking forests and the warming climate, the challenges are immense. However, despair is a luxury we cannot afford. The story of Africa's wilderness is not yet over, and within these challenges lie opportunities for change and powerful reasons for hope. This is a crucial moment, a turning point where our actions or our inaction will decide its future. The world must care about what happens to Africa's ecosystems because their fate is inextricably linked to our own. The Congo Basin is not just a forest, it is one of the great lungs of our planet, absorbing vast amounts of carbon dioxide and helping to regulate the global climate. The savannas and wetlands are not just homes for animals. They store carbon, purify water, and support the livelihoods of millions of people. When we allow these ecosystems to be destroyed, we are not just losing biodiversity. We are dismantling the very life support systems that make our planet habitable for all of us. Fortunately, there is a growing movement across the continent to protect and restore these precious natural spaces. We see it in the community-led conservation efforts in Namibia, where local people are empowered to manage and protect their own wildlife, turning poachers into guardians. We see it in the ambitious Great Green Wall Initiative, a continent-spanning project to plant a wall of trees across the Sahel to combat desertification and restore degraded land. We see it in the innovators and scientists in Kenya who are finding new ways to recycle plastic waste and create sustainable livelihoods. These are beacons of hope that show what is possible when people work together. It requires a global shift in consciousness where we recognize that the health of our planet is the foundation of our own well-being and prosperity. We have the knowledge and the tools to make a difference. We must now find the collective will to act. The wild heart of Africa is still beating, and if we work together, we can ensure it continues to beat for generations to come.